As I'm sure you've all seen all over social media, and I myself made a post about it, the Canadian government has come out with new mortgage rules as of December 15th, 2024. There were a handful of changes that came into effect, but the main one that most people are talking about is the new down payment rules when buying a property for $1 million or more. You can now buy a $1 million property with a minimum down payment of $75,000, where before it was a minimum down payment of $200,000. That's a $125,000 difference, and think about how long it takes to save $125,000. Hey there, my name is Kyle Duke. I've been in real estate for the past 10 years, and I've had the privilege to help both buyers, sellers, and investors navigate the real estate market. If you'd like to schedule a call with me for this year, please feel free to click the link down below where all my contact information will be. Now, let's get into the video. So in Canada, before December 15th of 2024, if you were buying a $1 million home or more, you needed a minimum down payment of 20%. So for easy math, if you were to buy a home at $1 million, you needed to have a $200,000 down payment at the minimum. And for every $100,000 you went over the $1 million, you needed an additional $20,000. And now with these new rules, if you were to buy a home for $1 million, you need a minimum down payment of $75,000, which equals out to being 7.5%. Now the same rules apply if you were to buy a home for $500,000, you need a minimum down payment of 5%. And the difference between $500,000 up to the million, you need a 10% of the difference. So for example, if you were to buy a home for $800,000, you need 5% of $500,000 and you need 10% of $300,000, totaling a minimum down payment of $55,000. Now with these new rules in play, the only time you need 20% is when you're buying a home for $1.5 million or more, which would be considered an insured mortgage. Now, the interesting thing going forward is how many people are actually going to be putting down the minimum when you're buying a home for $1 million. Because as we know, the more money you have as a down payment, the lesser your mortgage is. So let's do some math on what that looks like. So now let's say you're buying a house for $1 million with these new rules in play, putting the minimum down payment of 7.5%, using again a 4.5% interest rate as the example. Your monthly payment is going to be $53.24. Now, that doesn't seem like much, but if you look at it over the year, it's going to be an additional $10,000 you'll be paying. And over the lifetime of that 5-year fixed term, it's going to be about a $50,000 difference. And at the end of the day, just because you have $75,000 doesn't mean that you're going to be able to buy a home for $1 million. You still need to be able to qualify for that mortgage. So if I'm looking at 2024, specifically the spring and summer months where it was fairly slow, I'm looking at the homes that were being listed for $1 million to 1.1. And a lot of those sellers were really having to negotiate off of their list price, and they usually ended up around the $999, $999. Now, the reason for that was those buyers could qualify and did qualify for a $1 million mortgage, but they didn't have the $200,000 as the down payment. The interesting thing will be for this year is, do those homes get a little bit of a bump in terms of the value? Because with these new rules, you do not have to have as much capital to put down. Now, on top of those new down payment rules over $1 million, there were a few other things worth mentioning that were introduced. The Canadian government is expanding the eligibility for a 30-year amortization over a 25-year amortization for first-time home buyers and people purchasing new build properties. Now, this measure is going to apply to buyers that are required high loan-to-value mortgage insurance in Canada and when the total loan value is greater than 80%. So if you are a first-time home buyer or you're looking to purchase a new build property, you now have a little bit more breathing room, expanding the amortization period to 30 years from 25 years, as your monthly payments will be slightly lower. So these are some of the new rules going into 2025. I would love to hear your comments down below. If you like watching these videos, please feel free to like and subscribe, as I will be putting out more video content going into the 2025 year. Thank you for watching. My name is Kyle Duke. Have a great day.